Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS, FANS. Let's get to the news now. When it comes to shaking up the NFC South and really turning the tide in the Falcons' favor, whispers are growing louder about a potential blockbuster move that could reshape the entire division. And it involves none other than Max Crosby, the elite pass rusher from the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, you heard that right. Rumors are swirling that the Raiders, who are in a bit of a rebuild mode after some tough seasons and injuries, especially at quarterback, might be open to trading Crosby. And let me tell you, if this deal goes down, it could be one of the most impactful moves for Atlanta this offseason. This isn't just speculation, guys. It's a real possibility that could elevate the Falcons' defense to new heights and give us that extra edge to chase a deep playoff run. The Raiders, currently sitting at 5-8, are clearly in a rebuild after a disappointing stretch. They're dealing with cap constraints, roughly $10 million in space, and are focusing on rebuilding their offensive line, which has struggled at times this season, reflected in their PFF grade of around 61.7. Now Crosby, who's making a hefty $28 million this year, could be the piece they move to free up some cap space, around $23 million, enabling them to extend key players like Davante Adams or focus on other areas. The question is, what would a trade for Crosby look like, especially if the Falcons step into the picture? Crosby, who's been an absolute force in 2025, is having a career year with the Raiders. In 13 games, he's racked up 10 sacks, showing that relentless motor that makes him one of the very best in the league. His QB hits number an impressive 25, pressures at 72, and according to PFF, he's sitting at an elite 91.5 grade. His run-stopping ability is also solid, with a run-win rate of 30%, and his EPA per pressure of 0.19 shows he's not just a volume rusher, but one who makes big plays when it counts. Crosby's tackles stand at 42, with 3 forced fumbles, and his sacks per game average is roughly 0.77, which is well above the league average for edge rushers. His career stats are equally impressive: 98 games played, 62 sacks, 210 tackles, 12 forced fumbles, and 12 passes defensed. This guy is a game changer, a true disruptive force on the line. And let's not forget his recent injury history, costing him 1 game due to a rib injury in Week 4, but he bounced back strongly in Week 2 with 3 sacks against the Chargers. Think about that kind of resilience and peak performance. Crosby is operating at a level similar to the best pass rushers in the league, like Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa. In fact, his 2025 numbers put him in that upper echelon. And if he joins the Falcons, he could immediately boost our front four, creating chaos for opposing quarterbacks and elevating our pass rush to a top-tier level. Imagine him alongside Grady Jarrett, with players like Judon and Robinson adding to the pressure. That's a nightmare for any offensive line, especially in the NFC South, where our division rivals are trying to keep up with us. Now the Raiders' perspective here is interesting. They're sitting with a $10 million cap space and looking to rebuild their offensive line, but Crosby's contract could be a sticking point. Moving him would free up a significant chunk of cap space, roughly $23 million, which they could then use to extend or build around other pieces. But is that enough? Well, the Raiders are perhaps trying to make a statement. They might be willing to trade Crosby if they feel it accelerates their rebuild and helps them get draft picks or young talent in return. And that's where the Falcons come in, given our current roster with a PFF grade of 74. 6 on our front, totaling 24 sacks, and a defense that's steadily improving. Adding a player like Crosby would be a game changer. Think about it. Our defense under Dean Pease has been solid, but to truly elevate into the top 6 defenses in the league, we need that extra edge. Crosby would fit perfectly into our scheme, especially with his ability to generate pressure and sacks, which is precisely what we need to shut down opponents like Tom Brady or even the young guns like C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young in future matchups. His addition could give us that extra push in the postseason, turning us into a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And speaking of the postseason, let's talk about the potential impact. The odds for the Falcons to win it all, currently at +3,500, could see a significant shift if Crosby joins. His proven ability to dismantle OLs, like he did against the Rams in 2023, boosting their pass rush by 24%, makes him a real X-factor. If we look back at 2023, the 49ers defense, boosted by Bosa, gained about 12 sacks more than the year before. Crosby could be that kind of impact player for us, transforming our defense into a nightmare for anyone we face, especially in the playoffs. His presence on the field would make our entire front seven more aggressive and unpredictable, forcing turnovers and creating more opportunities for our offense led by Desmond Ridder and our talented receiving core. Now, what does this all mean for the NFC South? Well, with the Falcons improving their defense, especially if we add Crosby, we're not just competing, we're dominating. Our pass rush would become one of the league's most feared, and that's a huge advantage in close games. The division is already pretty competitive, with teams like the Buccaneers and Saints trying to stay afloat, but a move like this would send a clear message. Atlanta is here to stay at the top. It would make us serious contenders for not just the division title, but also a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance. The NFC is wide open this year, and adding Crosby could be the final piece of the puzzle. Of course, the logistics aren't simple. The Raiders might be asking for multiple picks or a promising young player in return, and Atlanta would need to navigate cap space and roster adjustments. But if we could pull this off, it would be a bold move, one that says loud and clear that the Falcons are not just building for the future, but are ready to compete now. Crosby's elite production, combined with our current talent and coaching staff, could turn Atlanta into one of the most intimidating defenses in the league, especially in high-stakes games. And let's not forget the history here. When the Falcons have had dominant defenses, we've gone deep into the playoffs. Remember 2016, when our pass rush was relentless? Or the 2017 season? Adding a player like Crosby could bring that same level of intensity back to Atlanta, inspiring our entire team to elevate their game. And with our offense already showing promise, especially with the improvements in the offensive line and the leadership of Desmond Ridder, a formidable defense could be the missing link that pushes us over the top. Looking ahead, the NFL landscape is always shifting, and the offseason is where teams really make their mark. If the Falcons manage to land Crosby, it sends a message to everyone in the league. Atlanta is all in, and we're here to contend for that ultimate prize. The division, the NFC, the entire league would take notice. The playoff race would heat up even more, and the possibility of a Super Bowl run would become much more realistic. This kind of move isn't just about upgrading a position. It's about transforming the identity of our team, establishing ourselves as serious contenders and future champions. Now, I want to stress that this is still in the realm of speculation, but considering how much the Falcons have been building and how aggressive they've been in the past, it's not out of the question. With the right draft picks, cap management, and a bit of luck, Atlanta could be on the verge of making a bold statement this offseason. Crosby's presence would not only boost our pass rush, but also serve as a leadership figure on that defensive line, pushing everyone to elevate their game. And when you combine that with our talented secondary and linebackers, we're talking about a defense that can suffocate even the best defenses in the league. In conclusion, if the Falcons pull off this move for Max Crosby, it could be the catalyst that propels us into the upper echelons of NFL defenses and sets us up for a deep playoff run. It's the kind of bold, strategic move that defines a franchise's trajectory, one that could lead us back to the promised land, to another Super Bowl appearance and maybe even a victory. We've seen the potential in our team this year, and with this kind of upgrade, there's no doubt we could be the team to beat in the NFC. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and TO, the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news.